everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to do your cereal box project in Photoshop/Photopea. We will be using Photopea specifically for this. Everything that you need to include is here in the instructions in the cereal box project worksheet. If you follow the all of the outline in this, you shouldn't have any issues. And then here's the rubric that will tell you everything that you must have minimum in your cereal box and how it's going to be graded. All right. I also have included videos like this one to show you how I did the basics. And I will also include some tips, some YouTube videos and some tutorials that can help you with some options for your project. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you want to make sure you do is to download this template. And the way you do that is just click on it, click, and it will automatically download to your computer. All right. Then what you want to do is open Photopea. All right, and then you are going to select Open from Computer. You're going to open the template, and it will look like this. The first thing you want to make sure you do is resize it, because this will be printed on 8.5 by 11 paper. And in this case, it's 11 by 8.5, and it's not the right size. So you have to go to Image, Image Size, unselect the chain because you don't want the proportion to stay the same. So I'm unselecting the chain. Then I'm going to change pixels to inches. The width should be 11 and the height should be 8.5. The DPI needs to be a minimum of 300, and then you press OK and it will resize itself. All right. Make sure you fit your canvas into the pane, and then now we can start designing our cereal box. All right. What I suggest is that you save frequently, because Photopea and Photoshop, they do not save automatically. And because you're working on a computer, sometimes things may happen. So you want to make sure you save quite often. So let's go ahead and save it now. I'm going to go to File, Save as PSD. I want everyone to call their file Cereal Box and your name. And then save to your downloads. All right. Before you start doing anything, you want to remove some of the words off of this box so you can start designing. So I'm going to unlock the template by clicking on the lock. Now it removes all the locks, and I'm going to remove all of the words except this flap folds inside, because you want to make sure that you don't put any designs on that flap. That's a glue flap. Okay, so you leave that in there, but turn off all of the other words. All right, don't delete anything yet until you finish designing, because this helps you realize what part of the box that you should be putting things on. Okay. All right. The second thing you want to make sure you do is merge layer 2 to layer 1. When you remove layer 2, it has white boxes that hide the nutrition facts and the ingredients. You don't need any of that. So just make that one layer. And the way you do that is you right click layer 2, you click on merge down, and now it merges into layer 1. I want to rename layer 1. You should name all of your layers so you don't get confused as to what is what. So to name your layers, you hold down, you double click the words, and it will allow you to change the name. So you're going to call that layer Cereal Box. Okay. So that's the whole cereal box. Then I'm going to hide my background right quick Press W for the magic wand, and I'm going to click the background and press delete. When you see those those gray squares, that means that area is transparent. It's clear, there's no color. That's what you want. Okay, so when you start to color it, it's only going to color where there's the white. It's not going to color the entire background. All right, so now I need the lines. And so to do that, I'm going to duplicate this layer and remove all of the white, so I'll just have the lines left over. All right, so I'm going to right click the layer, click duplicate layer, and I'm going to call it cereal box outline. All right, so that's the cereal box outline. I'm going to hide the cereal box, and using the magic wand, I'm going to select all the white areas. There is a way to select all the white. So if I click on Command D to unselect, I click 100 and I click, let's see if it'll let me do it. Excellent. Okay, so if I make this 100 and unclick contiguous, it will select all the white areas. See that? Okay, and then press delete, it will remove all the white. All right, another way you can do this is just hold down the shift key and select it individually, and it will select that area. All right, I'm going to put contiguous back on because I need it back on. Command D to unselect. So now I have my outline. I'm going to make my outline in multiply, so it will show when I start coloring. All right, so I'm going to turn my cereal box layer back on. And now I'm going to start coloring my cereal box. You have three options that are laid out in the instructions. You can use a solid color, which I kind of would veer against because solid color is really, really plain, and you want to make sure that your cereal box is very interesting and appealing so people will pick it up and buy it. You can also do a pattern. You can find any monochromatic pattern, or you can use a gradient. I will show you how to do all three. All right. The first thing I'm going to show you is the color to color it. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a new layer, and I want to create a clipping mask. So to do that, I'm going to right click that layer and I'm going to click on clipping mask. What that will do is it will only color in the white areas of the layer underneath it. Okay. So I'm going to call it plain. Okay. And I'm going to paint mine pink. Now, I have already thought of my theme. The best thing that you could do is think about your theme before you even start designing your cereal box. I'm going to be creating a cereal box, like a love themed cereal box with my target market in mind, which is millennial, nostalgic millennial, which leaves a lot for you to choose from. So what I can do a cherub, I could do the Cupid. I also thought about maybe doing Betty Boop because she's kind of synonymous with Valentine and love and things like that. And it's very creative and it's very catchy and not used quite often. So I'm going to use the color pink. All right. All right. So to use the color, I'm going to pick my paint bucket, make sure the paint bucket tool is selected. And then I'm going to go to my color picker and I'm going to choose pink. Boop. And now it just colors the entire cereal box without me having to color each section. Okay, that's one option. Another option, I'm going to hide this and I'm going to make a new layer. This is going to be my gradient layer. Again, I'm going to make a clipping mask. Excuse me. And I'm going to make a gradient. And the way you have a gradient is you hold the mouse click key down and you change the paint bucket tool to the gradient tool. If you click here on the top left, you can change the colors of your gradient. There are different types of gradients that are in this. If you click on the down arrow, you have different types of gradients here that are preset colors. You can also click on this here. You have linear gradients, you have radial, you have angle, reflected, and diamond. I want mine to be linear. And I already have my colors pre-selected, but I pre-made, but I will show you how these can be done. So you click on this box until you have it's outlined in white, and then you select the box next to foreground, and that's how you change the color. Okay. And then I'm gonna, or you could double click it. I just realized you could double click it as well. All right, and then you press OK once you figured out what you want. Now to create your gradient, you hold the mouse key down and you drag. Now you have your gradient. You can also do it the opposite way, like that. You go left to right, which I don't suggest for this particular way, because you want all your boxes panels to be the same. All right, so I'm going to stick with this. Actually, I'm going to go the other way. Okay. All right, what you can also do is a pattern. Now there are ways to make a pattern from scratch in Photoshop, but I want you to keep this simple. You can find tutorials on how to make a pattern, and I have included a couple, but what I really want you to do is find images on Google. All right, so I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to find a pattern. So I'm going to find pink pattern. And then here I have some very cool patterns. They're monochromatic. All right, this one's cool, so I'm going to save that one. This one is nice as well because it goes along with my cherub theme. Okay. I also found this one interesting. Because it gives my cereal box some interest, right? You want it to be interesting and not so literal for the most part, okay? You never really want to go all the way literal, and keep it simple. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to insert. I'm going to use my plain background first. You want to make sure that you have a color underneath. And I want to add my pattern in. So there's two ways you can do that. You can go to File, Open in Place, and add the pattern in. Or you can go to your downloads and drag it in like so. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add this in. Make sure it fits all of my panels. You don't necessarily have to worry too much about your flaps if you don't want to, but you can. I'm going to keep my flaps plain and just keep it on the panels, and then press enter once you put it in. Okay. Another thing you can do, you can just add the pattern to each panel. So I'm going to take this off and I'm going to put in my other panel that I found. It was this one. Actually, let me put in the other one. It was this one. Okay. If I fit it in like this, right? And then if I press Control C, Control V to copy and paste. And then move it by pressing the letter V and scoot it over like so. And make sure that they're even. Like this. You want to make sure it's nice and even. And merge them together like that. Make sure they're nice and I just overlap them until they looked even like that. And then I'm going to delete this flat part by clicking on the rectangle select. And I'm going to press delete. If it asks you to rasterize, rasterize. All right, so now I have my panels. I'm going to merge this into one layer. And the way you do that is you merge down, merge down, merge down. Okay, so now I have my pattern. And this is another pattern that I have to choose from. You can play with your patterns. You might have more than one idea, but make sure you label them. Okay, so this is my first pattern. Now it's kind of bright. So if you go to your layer filters, which is here, you can play with the, now that's kind of cool. You see how you could play with that? So I'm going to keep that. You can also put it on top of your gradient if you want to. Now this pattern is a little dark on the gradient, so if I change it around to maybe lighten, or let's see, soft light, and then you can work with the opacity. You don't want your pattern to overpower your piece. That's kind of cool. All right, I'm going to stick with this. This is kind of cool. Okay, so now I have colored my box, my cereal box. Okay, now I'm going to make sure I save it. So click Save as PSD, press Enter, and replace your existing file. So now it has updated, just in case something happens, or your computer shuts down, or something happens with the internet. You never know. But you always want to make sure you save it. Another thing you want to make sure you do is go to Google Drive, which is drive.google.com, and put it in your Google Drive so you can save this on any, you can open it and start working on it from any computer. Okay, so you're going to click on File Upload and then go ahead and save it. Okay. So that's the first step. You have downloaded the template, you resized the template, you colored the template, and you made sure that there's some interest in there and that it is relevant to your theme. Now, the next step, when you go to the next video, if you need it, I will show you how to add the details to your cereal box.